Okay. So I have here with me Howard Walker, and he's a renowned MC around the Powwow Trail and also around round dance country here in Saskatchewan and other places in Canada as well. He MC'd lots, and he does lots of workshops for our culture, and he's a strong promoter in living a clean, positive life. And I'm here today to ask him about the drum. So what I wanted to ask you is, how did the drum first come into existence?
It was, we've been always been told that the first drum beat you hear, you're inside your mom, the first 9 months of your life. And that drum beat that you hear is her heart. And it has been told by elders that the first drum that was made, at first they only had rattles for their ceremonies. And then this story came into existence about the heartbeat of Mother Earth. So a drum was made. And that drum was made for a society called the Grandmothers Society. So the first owner of the drum was a woman. It's same as that Dakota story where a woman, white buffalo woman, first received the pipe. And seeing that once we are born from our mums, there are various kinds of drums. We have in the West, we have drums that are made out of the four-legged, made out of the plant life. The frames are made out of wood, and the rawhides made out of the four-legged. Everything reverts back to Mother Earth. And for that reason, the first drum was given to the mother. There's a drum called the water drum. Our first journey into Earth as a human out of your mum, water came. Therefore, that water drum needed to exist. And then a bigger drum was made. And this was to gather information, to gather teachings from all over. So each time you pound on a drum, each of us have that distinct need to be around that drum beat because we know what it's for. We have that drum beat to bring our information givers together, to give us that information the same way that our mom, when we were inside, nurtured us and protected us, and we felt secure in there. And this is one of the reasons why when we pound that drum, that a lot of us will come together. That drum calls us because of the teachings that it has when it brings in the information givers, the knowledge keepers. And then we are told those stories around that drum to develop our minds, to develop ourselves emotionally, to develop ourselves physically, and to develop ourselves spiritually. Because that drum is made just like the hope of life. Every time we pound that drum, there's a song that goes with that drum that brings that hope that there will be a better tomorrow for future generations. The drum is made out of natural things that we are given to by Mother Earth. The four-legged will how would I say, give themselves up so that we can feed our children. It's just the same as when we go hunting. It's not necessarily the good hunter goes out and picks out the animal that he wants. It's the other way around. There was a group of men that went out on a buffalo hunt, and they said, I'll pick that one, I'll pick that one, and I'll pick that one. And the old man told them, you'll pick nothing. We will get them to run. And the one that turns around, that's the one that offers themselves for that drum that we are going to make. They were made out of buffalo hide at first, and they were very, very tough drum, a tough drum. There's different drums that are made from different kinds of animals. It all depends on the society of who makes that drum. At one time we were in a clan system, and there was a lot of drums that was made out of beaver hide, especially hand drums now, deer hide, moose hide, elk hide, even as far as making drums out of bear hide and all that. But a lot of us come from those clans, and just like when we say, I'm from the bear clan, and I can't eat bear meat, nor can I make my drum out of a bear, any kind of products that the bear has to offer. I can't do that. So that drum has all kinds of natural laws that go with it. They're unwritten, but there's a lot of natural laws that go with it when you prepare to, or even when you're going to make a drum. There's always protocol that needs to be done. Protocol that needs to be done. Like, you gave me tobacco to tell you this information. I gave tobacco to an old man, several old men, to give me this information, and I collected this information from various tribes. And although some tribes may differ in terms of how the protocol is done when making a drum, or how it arrived, and who had it, who was the owner of the drum, and but it all means the same. It's the heartbeat of Mother Earth. Sometimes elders get kind of concerned when we have our singers and they beat that drum too hard. There is a time where you beat that drum to wake up the spirits. And when we're singing powwow and you do those honor beats, you call the spirits. It's not up to the drummer to say, this is when we'll do it. It'll be someplace in that song where that thing needs to be done. And the drum is so powerful that we have a lot of our young people today that have lost their language through no fault of their own, because of various policies that exist within the Canadian government, let's say. We were not allowed to practice our customs and our traditions. As a matter of fact, they went underground and they survived. Through that, we lost our language. But when you get the connection of that drum with the drumstick, you will find our boys singing perfect Cree, perfect so, perfect solo, perfect Ojibwe, whatever language. The Dinés have their own language, and they sing in their language when they have that drum, and they're connected to the spirit of that drum through that drumstick. And there was one drum that I went up to, and a bunch of all these guys, young people, university students, some of them, and I told them in Cree, am I ever amazed at you guys, the way that you hung on to your language, one of your traditions. And that was one of the unwritten laws. To be able to sit around the drum was to know about the drum, to know your culture, to know your language, to know your spirituality, the way you think and the way you feel. And you sit around that drum and you come at it physically in a good way. And when I said that in Cree to them, and they let that drumstick go, and then one of them called me back and he said, "What were you saying in your language?" And I thought that they were able to speak that language because they know how they sang it.
Yeah.
And that's the power of that drum. That's the spirit of that drum going into that singer. And sometimes, us guys, we cannot play with spiritual songs, especially from when I sing in a sweat. When I hear a song in a sweat, I can sing along with that song. And it's a good song. I'm going to know it. I want to remember it. But once you leave it, you just can't seem to remember it. You hear all these good songs during a Sundance lot, and you want to sing them, but you can't remember. And that's the reason why you came to me and offered me tobacco for this information, so that I can give you in a good way, as much as I know. There are a lot of people that are far more knowledgeable about the drum than I am. But what I've gathered through tobacco from the elders, I try to share with the younger people so that they'll know. They'll know how to respect, they'll know how to honor, not only themselves, but also when they sit around the drum. That humility, that humble feeling that you have. A lot of people will say, I bought my drum to this powwow. It's usually the drum that brings you to the powwow. Just like take for instance, we only have about 8 hand drums here for this round dance tonight. And once those drums start going, there's going to be about 10 more that are going to come in through that door. And that is the calling in of them, the calling in of what that drum does, the spirit of that drum. And every time we hear a song and the dance that goes with that song, there is a connection from the spirit world to that drum, to the healing movements of that dancer, and goes to the spectator, the one that is watching, the one that is expecting healing from a gathering where a drum is utilized. So the spirit of that drum is very, very strong. The spirit of that drum is strong. That's why sometimes we look real hard and we can't see. And sometimes we listen real hard and we don't hear. When we talk about miracles, our young boys putting all those negative things away that are so readily available for them, and cleaning up their act and singing around the drum. That's the spirit of that drum.
Which is very good words. I'm very happy to hear them. And another thing about the drum too that we take for granted is our actions. So I wanted to ask you about behavior and how we are to respect and behave around the drum.
Well, I guess an attitude that we come to the drum with. To some young people, they want to be like the singer that knows. The singer that knows. But when I tell you that some people will look real hard and they can't see, they'll look as far as, I want to be that singer. But behind the spiritual reason of why a singer chooses to sing the songs of our ancestors, he needs to have a clean life. Just the same way as a pipe carrier has to have a clean life, a straight life, relatively straight. That's the same as a singer. That's the same as a singer. Because when your attitude towards that drum, and then all of a sudden your attitude will become a behavior. So when we see the attitude around the drum of some of these singers, and then we don't give them heck, but we try to correct them and we try to guide them in a good way. In a good way. They say that when you hear that drum beat, and everybody's in tune to that drum beat, and if it comes along, somebody that's not knowledgeable about that beat, the heartbeat of Mother Earth, and sometimes the people that are gathered around are connected to that beat. And if there's somebody that has a pacer, if there's somebody that has a weak heart, and if somebody comes along and starts pounding that drum, not the same beat as Mother Earth, you can hurt that person. That's how dangerous it is, because that is why some of our elders say, perhaps maybe he's not ready, perhaps maybe he's too young mentally, emotionally, maybe he's too young spiritually. Physically he's okay, but when you go in that hoop of life, everything needs to be looked after. Not only the spiritual part, not only the mental part and the emotional part, the physical part, they all have to be fixed at the same time. That is why that drum is round. That is why that drum makes that noise. It's not us that makes that noise when we hit the drum. It's the drum that makes that noise. And I say noise because that is how far we get in terms of the spiritual, I'll say the spiritual, the way we say it in our language. There isn't a word in another language that will explain it in that way.
What's that word?
Just like we can sing in chanting.
Yeah.
And then when you want...
Kind of like reaching out for the spirits.
Yes. And then you put words into that song. Just like when you do a horse dance song. It's up to the singer to chant all the way through. And then the word song will come. The word songs will come. And they'll fit that song that you're singing spiritually, that comes from the spirit of that drum.
And what that kind of means is in an offering in words, kind of, for translation for that, what he just said. It's kind of like an offering. When you begin your words, you're doing it as an offering to invite the spirits.
Yes.
To help you pray.
Yeah. So we sing, and we speak, and we chant. But all those things we put together through our spiritual sense, through our emotional, through our mental, and through our physical, the way we move around the drum. That's why the attitude around the drum, that sometimes when we allow that to anything that is done out of, let's say, with no respect, and if we allow that to happen, that attitude will get out of hand, just the same as the fire gets out of hand, can be very uncomfortable. That's why some of us up here, when we're announcing, and if we have somebody out there that's fooling around with the song, or that's making an unnecessary drum beat, or a dancer that's making some unnecessary moves, trying to, a lot of our young kids are doing that, and then we tell them that the spirits are still here, especially in this lodge. The spirits are still here. You beat that drum with respect. You sing that song as with honor and humility. You sing that song the way that our ancestors left it, because the spirits are still here, and we need to take care of this lodge in that way. And that is a teaching also from the drum. That is a teaching from the drum. Every beat has...
It's a translation that, very loose translation. What that kind of means is we take from the spirits, and we give when we hit the drum.
Yes, that communication goes both ways, if you know what I mean. Because you cannot give away anything that you don't have. You cannot give away anything that you don't have. Today, anybody can grab a drumstick and a hand drum and sing a song. to a point where today anybody can get a pipe, acquire a pipe, not through the traditional means, the spiritual way. When I received my pipe, I was told to go sit in the wilderness with that pipe. And then I had to leave it for a brief period out there, that pipe by itself. And then when I went and got it, that's when I got my songs. And those are the songs that I use in the lodge, or when I'm giving tobacco in the big lodge, I can sing those songs. But for the reason I tell you, the spirit of that drum is so powerful that when you use that rattle or that drum inside the lodge and sing that song, you can sing it. But once you let that drum go and leave that lodge and you try and sing it out there without the drum, it's kind of hard to do that. And then our elders always tell us, when you're talking, make sure you choose the right words, or someone is going to pay the consequences if you say something wrong. That's just the same thing as when you sing a spiritual song, make sure you sing it the way that you've been taught to sing it from the spirits. Otherwise, if you sing it wrong, that's just the same as saying something wrong. And maybe that connection to the spirit would not be there. Would not be there. So the power of that drum, is powerful. For some of us, we hear the drum. Some of us are how do you say, in a new world. We say we pound, we walk to our own drum beat.
Oh,
Okay? Each of us are given a beat. It's in there. And that's the one that gives you, everything comes alive, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically. And that's where it originated from, that drum, from the heartbeat of our moms. And it still does that. Tonight, this place is going to be packed. And tonight, there's going to be a lot of fun. There's going to be a lot of healing that's going to be happening. And there's going to be a lot of good songs that are going to be sung. And that is the power of that drum.
Okay. Gamewa Sikik Speaks Queen.
Thank you. Thank you.
Those are very good words, and here's a snapshot of the drums. And we're here in Pelican Lake. Tatsa Sagaikin. And here's the drums. Go. Okay, how very good words.